Regulation. Regulation is regulating our business. I'm talking about all things we have no control over. Regulation. Regulation is regulating our business. I'm talking about all things we have no control over. Price of cars. Relate for you. Then it democratizes what you do, and so look at BlackBerry. I mean, that's an example. That was the hottest thing since like bread, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. And if you're in the property and casualty business, take a look at this issue, okay? Take a look at this issue, okay? Take a look at this. Take a driverless car. So these are some of the challenges that technology brings. But then there's this article from Insurance Group that great night, and it says AI is going to replace all. And that's not just from our end. Financial advisors is affected by AI. But advisors that use AI will replace the ones that don't. So don't think that it's an enemy. It's a tool that can make you a lot more productive. And the other thing is, if you're talking about change, how can you ignore this? How can you ignore this guy? This guy changed the planet, okay? And he says, everyone's asking me what's going to change in the next 10 years. He's less concerned about what's going to change. He's more concerned about what doesn't change. Because if something doesn't change, you can build a business model around it. And Adam Holt of AssetMatch says this: when decisions are complex and there's a high cost of being wrong, people want another human being to gain confidence. So that's the business that you happen to be. And this guy, Richard Thaler, won the Nobel Prize for Economics, and he said this: people don't think rationally when they make financial decisions. And economics would be a great science if it only dealt with the way people actually behave versus the way they're supposed to behave. Look, everyone has a long-term perspective until they get hit with a short-term decline, right? So let me tell you a great question with people, because in our business we tend to say, take a fact find out all this stuff. What are your goals? Most people don't know what the hell their goals are. Okay? They're just trying to get through the day. But here's a great question for that. Mr. O'Miz, person, do you really want to be rich, or would you rather have a guarantee that you'll never be? And that gets people to think. Because one of the problems that's here is that there's this idea of left brain, right brain. Our industry historically has been driven by a left brain analytical paradigm that all clients make rational decisions that serve their best interest all the time. No one who deals with the investing public believes that to be true. Plus, the left brain wants to be understood, but the right brain wants to be believed. And I'd rather be believed than understood anyway. David Hume, the famous Scottish philosopher, said intellectual knowledge, awareness or knowledge of something, motivates us to do absolutely nothing. Look, if clients get the concept, the details don't matter. If the client doesn't get the concept, the details don't matter. So before I go further, I want to ask everyone in this room, who here wants to live a significant life? Well, of course, all of you do. So it's built on 4 pillars. And so the first one is belonging. And with the secularization of society, the rise of social media, the decline of religion and family values, people have never felt more isolated and alone. Yale did a study and found out the more people use Facebook, the worse they feel. No one posts that the dog died or they had a lousy day. It's all this stuff that everyone knows is true. And now there's a new phenomenon called FOMO, fear of missing out. This is how manipulative it is. What happens is people begin to trust or think about their own self-worth predicated on somebody like them. Look, it's other. Oh, and by the way, do you know the UK has the Ministry of Loneliness? This is a legitimate ministry. It's out there. Look, it's others that give our lives meaning and purpose by providing community and connection. And isolation is the new smoking. Isolation is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And according to the U.S. Surgeon General, that's what it says. So what I'm trying to do is give you insight to what's happening on the outside world, not just to focus in on our stuff, to give you an idea of how we should be reacting. The second one is purpose, and purpose requires a commitment that's greater than what's in it for you. And I heard a great definition of purpose, and I want to share it with you. Purpose is not the thing you do, it's the thing that happens inside of others when you do it. Think about that. Notice the emphasis on others. And purpose is different from goals, because goals are things that you want to obtain. You want more money, you want a bigger house, you want more prestige and all that stuff, and that stuff is fine. Purpose, on the other hand, are things that you want to attain. And, the best way to think about the distinction of that is think of your eulogy. How do you want to be remembered? Having the biggest car? No, I don't think so. To impact on others. And some people think that our purpose in life is to find meaning. I don't think that's what we seek. I think what we seek is to experience being alive. And there's no better way to experience being alive than in the service of others. Viktor Frankl, in his famous book, Man's Search for Meaning, and this guy knows what he's talking about because he was in a Nazi concentration camp. And so what he says is this: significance cannot be pursued, it must ensue. And it can only do so as the unintended side effect of one's devotion to a cause greater than oneself, or as the byproduct of one's surrender to someone other than oneself. You can't live a significant life unless you benefit others, and you do it for a living. So let me tell you what I think your unique purpose is. Your unique purpose is to make certain that the money outlives the people. That the money outlives the people. See, you have to insure against what can go wrong to gain the luxury to invest in what goes right. Let me repeat that. You have to insure against what can go wrong to gain the luxury to invest in what goes right. What about your value proposition? The value of the advice you provide and the products you sell are worth far more than what your clients pay for it. Price is only an issue in the absence of value. Let me say that again. Price is only an issue in the absence of value. Let's explore your value. I think you represent intrinsic value. And intrinsic value is not measured by how much money you make, but by the size of the problem that you can solve. And you tell me a profession that solves problems bigger than this. You protect the innocent if someone dies prematurely so that they have peace of mind. You can provide people with a worry-free retirement so that they can maintain their independence. You protect that income if they get sick, because then they can, so they can maintain their dignity. And finally, you provide legacy when they die. You tell me a profession that does more than that. You gotta not only know it, you gotta believe it, because your beliefs drive your behavior. And if your desires or goals don't sync with your beliefs, you're always going to manifest your beliefs. And a lot of people get into this business and they said, well, maybe I'll do okay, I'll make some money, take some trips, that will be great. But